Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Make Your Move Monday. This is Latrice McFadden coming to you live all the way from Durham, North Carolina, with my special guest today, Mrs. Denise Hester, born and bred and raised in Durham, North Carolina. And we're going to be talking to you today about some special opportunities for Durham residents to get educated, informed, and just grow in the community. So we are not going to delay things. Miss Denise Hester, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you for you and your husband being a pillar in the community and always being there to provide these programs for the community. So today we wanted to talk about two programs, but we're going to start with the first one. Actually, let me let you introduce yourself because you have quite a history, quite a background. I know you've done a lot of things. You've been an entrepreneur. You're a property owner. So introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got started.
Well, you're right. I was born here in Durham. In fact, probably one block over from where our office is on the former Pine Street, which is now called South Roxborough Street. So I'm a child of Hayti, as I
Mm-hmm.
like to say, and so is my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And we both went to Durham Public Schools. He went into the military. I went to college in New England, on to Atlanta, where I've got bit by the real estate bug, I guess. I worked as an engineer for Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit and became very familiar with the power of real estate and development, redevelopment to really shape people's worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for good, sometimes not for good. So I planned on staying in Atlanta and not ever returning to Durham until we had a death in the family on my father's side, Weaver's Cleaners. Some people who are seasoned enough will remember it. And it was another learning curve. But let me back up to Atlanta. So while I was in Atlanta, I was had a uh, dual employment,
Career. Mm-hmm.
engineer by day, real estate person by night, and I started out rehabbing houses. And the first house I did was my own house, and it was not insurmountable. And I do want to throw that out there for people who may be listening. Most things boil down to a process, and if you can
Mm-hmm.
master the process, then you can do a whole lot of things. But you need to understand that. So anyway, did my house and said, oh, well, that wasn't so bad. So then I started bidding on HUD and VA houses, and the next house I did was down the street from me.
Mm-hmm.
I just rolled on to the extent of my finances and my credit at the time and my rehab dollars. So and then I decided that I would get my license as well because there were other opportunities, to broker as I was
Mm-hmm.
out there in the real estate world. So I was doing these things and raising two children as a single mother at the time, enjoying it all, but still, very, very tired. Actually, takes a lot of energy to keep things going once you start them. And then tragedy struck, and my uncle, who owned the Weaver's Cleaners dry cleaners on my dad's side, passed. And my aunt and uncle, who were the executors of his estate, did not want to unemploy the people at the cleaners. So they made me an offer I couldn't refuse to come back home and run the dry cleaners. Now, I didn't know anything about dry cleaning. However, I am a process person. So
Mm-hmm.
I jumped in to understand the various processes involved in that particular business. It was a very steep, steep learning curve. But I ran Weaver's Cleaners. Actually, I bought the business from my uncle's estate. And some people, I hear things in the uh, in the world that says uh, it was given to me. No, I purchased that business. So I just want to make that clear for
Set the
people.
record straight. Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't a gimme. And and anyway, I ran the dry cleaners, we was cleaners, until my aunt and uncle decided to sell the property. The deal was they owned the building and I owned the business, and I rented from them, which, as they got older, provided additional income for them,
Mhm.
after they retired. So it was a win-win situation for a while. But at the same time that, during that time when I was in the cleaners, my husband and I were also developing Phoenix Crossing Shopping Center on Fayetteville Street. So, as luck or God would have it, when they decided to sell the cleaners and I basically retired from dry cleaning, we moved right up into the new shopping center and
Mhm.
started operating. For the first time since we were married, we were on the same schedule. And
Mhm.
and amidst all of this, we had, the oldest child. We have six in all. We have a blended family. Larry has four, and I had a set of twins. And so the oldest son was up and out of the house. So then we had five younger ones, who were also in the mix, and we were just busy doing
Mhm.
lots of things. So, fast forward, we opened Phoenix Crossing in 2020, December of 2020. This is our 25th year. It will be in December of having
Mhm.
this shopping center open. And again, our mission, because we grew up in Haiti, and we had firsthand knowledge of what happened to Haiti. Our mission was to try and restore our community to its position of former prominence in the city of Durham. And so
Mhm.
we got involved in various initiatives, and we'll get to the Durham Business and Professional Chain shortly. But we were very much concerned about conditions on the Fayetteville Street corridor. When I moved back here, I was so shocked at the condition of Fayetteville Street. I said it looked like the street that time forgot. It was.
Mhm.
This was during the crack epidemic in the 80s. I moved back here in '89, and in the '90s, that was the time of the crack epidemic. And the rest, and the bad, sad thing was, during the '90s is when Durham first started experiencing its first population surge due
Mhm.
to Research Triangle, universities, growth of population, all of that. But Fayetteville Street was just like, forgotten. And that just really, it hurt my heart, to number one, to try and operate a business in that particular environment. So anyway, we got involved, and there were many other people along the way who felt the same way. So we formed the Historic Fayetteville Street Planning Group, Corridor Planning Group, initially just as a community coalition of residents, business people, concerned citizens, and anyone else concerned about the future of Durham's economic Black community. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
and at the same time, I volunteered and was an officer with the Durham Business and Professional Chain, which has existed since 1937, with the same mission to
Mhm.
uplift Black businesses and create wealth for Black people, which basically had largely been destroyed by urban renewal.
Mhm.
So, we worked internally inside the organization, and because you're a former chair of our seminars and workshops committee, we worked together for a good while on that together, trying
Mhm.
to inform people, educate, and I say inspire people
Right.
to either
Right.
be a professional or entrepreneur or both, as the case
Mhm.
may be. So,
Mhm.
one of the opportunities that came along was the ARPA grant, which stands for American Rescue Plan Act, and
Mhm.
it was a initiative of the Biden administration to help people recover from the pandemic, the
Mhm.
COVID pandemic. And
Mhm.
our focus was Fayetteville Street and the chain we were in the economic sector. There were other sectors like health and well-being, education, cultural activities, but we were in the economic sector because that had been destroyed. Haiti's economic engine had been totally destroyed by urban renewal. And even, let me see, that was in the '70s, even 50 years later, it had not recovered. So
Mhm.
we were both organizations. I wrote the grant for the Fayetteville Street group. My husband wrote the grant for the Durham Business Chain. And Fail the Street Group, we were a community group, so we had to actually incorporate and become a legal entity. So we had to incorporate as a nonprofit. The chain was already a nonprofit.
Hmm.
We were both excited and thrilled that that money came down from Washington through and administered through the city of Durham uh,
Hmm.
to accomplish various initiatives. So I'll stop there.
No, that's a lot. And you said so much. We'll have to do another segment to encourage people that are single, because I know your history, but just part of make your move is always to encourage people to make your move. And sometimes we feel like that our situation just is just so oppressive that we can't do things. And so I think it's always good to see that it can be done no matter what your situation. So we'll do another segment on that to just give that ability. You said you were a single parent, twins, and you started your business, and I know a little bit about your story, but I'd like to share more on that. But today, let's talk about the historic Fayetteville Street Corridor Grant first, and then get into the chain, the Durham Business and Professional Chain Grant. So, can you tell us a little bit about what your grant allows, and then how you're implementing it, and then how people can take advantage of it and participate?
Okay. Our grant, we call it the scope of work, has two main components. The first is to address what the grant calls housing and income insecurity.
Hmm.
And the second is food insecurity. And they are linked together, of course. If you
Hmm.
don't have, if your income is insecure, then your housing and your food is insecure. So they are linked together. And our goal, we have measurable goals under the grant and timelines to accomplish. The grant runs until the end of December 2026. Now, that's the end of the money. Everything has to be done and accounted for by that time. So, as far as the food insecurity, we will be starting food giveaways probably in the late fall going toward Thanksgiving, where
Hmm.
people can come. And our concept is just a drive through. We'll have bags of, we're going to concentrate on dry goods instead of perishables, and we'll be giving away food. We also will be hiring volunteers. So if anybody's hearing this, this is a paid volunteers per event. To help assemble the boxes and the bags and then place them in either people's trunks of their cars or on the back seat of their cars as they just
Hmm.
drive through. So that's
Hmm.
the food piece, and we're doing dry goods because we want to cut down on the potential for spoilage and having excess, and then
Hmm.
having to store stuff or possibly throw things away
Hmm.
because of spoilage. So we're concentrating on dry and canned goods, which can
Okay.
still go a long way
Hmm. Hmm.
with
Absolutely.
feeding families. Um, I'm
So
gonna
how can someone apply to be a volunteer for that when you get that, or you don't have that just
all
yet?
this all this number for all of our this is our main intake number. It's 919 two three
Hmm.
seven 1884.
Okay.
919 237 1884. That's food
Okay.
insecurity. Now,
Hmm.
income insecurity is to help people who suffered financial loss during the pandemic, whether they lost their jobs, their benefits. Some people lost their lives, and that plunged families into desperate situations many times. So with the way we're addressing income insecurity is to hold free financial literacy seminars. We started in August. September is currently underway. So we're scheduled with presenters through December of this year, but next year in 2026, we'll be picking it up again. And the basic items that we're covering are budgeting, credit issues, home ownership, business ownership. Those are the main areas. Now, all of these grants, including the one for the chain, you have to be a resident of the city of Durham in order
Hmm.
to receive the services. Not the county, because the county got their own pot of money from ARPA, but you have to be a resident of the city, and the city of Durham administers our program. So
Okay.
we're doing that income insecurity. And we find when you get into the seminars, you learn a lot from the presenters, but you also learn a lot from the participants. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, people have experienced different things in different ways, and everybody shares, and it's just a good environment, uh, what I would call a safe environment to
Yeah.
ask questions without
Hmm.
fear of looking dumb or asking inappropriate things. We welcome it all, because
Hmm.
number one, our presenters, and Latrice, you've been a presenter, because our presenters are very skilled in their professions, so they're in a position to help people. And we are just fortunate to have a lot of people with a lot of information. And the other thing is, we have a lot of people that just don't know things, that
Exactly.
just don't know financial things, either from their background, or just not on the radar, or just accepting things as they are, and or in sometimes fear of doing new things and taking a risk. So you have
Hmm.
all of that, working, but we're just fortunate to have a welcoming group of people and a welcoming community to advance our financial knowledge. And the
Absolutely.
last area, now this portion is not up and running yet, but it's one that I'm really excited about, is our home rehab program. Under the grant, we have the ability to rehab the exteriors of 20 homes in our focus area. And I'll say what that is in a minute. Our the grant is free to homeowners, but the homeowners do have to be income qualified. The other two areas, financial literacy and the food program, are not income qualified, but the housing program is income qualified, because the housing money is related to HUD and the federal agencies. So
Hmm.
we can do a host of things, such as we can replace your roof, we can repair your roof, we can paint your exterior of your home, we can do siding, we can do ramps, steps, porches, railings, weatherize windows or replace them, or replace exterior doors. We can do exterior porch lights, motion lights. The only other thing on the repairs is, the repairs have to be done to the home itself. If We can't do detached things like garages or
Hmm.
retaining walls, that kind of thing. We can also weatherize your crawl space if you have one. If you have dampness under your crawl space, we can address that. We can do pest control, anything that will stabilize your home so that you can stay in it and not be forced out by real estate speculators who are coming along and making what I consider ridiculous offers because they see people in distress. And
Hmm.
the uh, the criteria for the ARPA rehab is that people financially, during the pandemic, if you were going to make repairs to your house to try to keep it up during the pandemic, you had to make a choice between whether you were going to eat, whether you were going to get your medicine, or whether you're going to repair your house. So we know what fell to the bottom of the list. And
Hmm.
those folk who were in distress, we call it age in place, and also to be able to transfer their wealth to future generations, to be able to pass that home along, if they so choose, to their
Hmm.
heirs. And see, that's what was cut off when Haiti was destroyed. Everything was truncated. There was no wealth to be transferred except to those who were put into position to get the wealth. So we try
Hmm.
to stabilize the home, make it safe, habitable, um, address safety issues that we see exterior wise. We can also replace hot water tanks, HVAC systems, including duct work. We can repair or replace. And there's other things I'm just rolling off the top of my head, but we have a fairly good list of repairs that can be made. There is a limit on the
To ask that.
dollar amount. Um,
Hmm.
right now, the max is 15,000 per home. But
Hmm.
contract wise, every we can't do everything for everybody, so we have
Right.
to one of the guidelines for the rehab is the repairs have to be um, doable within the scope of the grant. In other
Mm-hmm.
words, don't bite off a big project that you can't complete within the time frame of the grant. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and
So I know
well,
you mentioned that there's an income requirement. I'm assuming they have to be like at, is it an income that they have to be like 80% of the median income or
oh,
what?
it's less than that. It's 65% of the area
65%.
median. Now, and it's by household size. So when you come in, you have to come into our office because we have to check. First, if you are interested in the program, you can come in and you can fill out an application. The
Mm-hmm.
application, the other interesting components on our application, I don't know about other groups, is that anyone who is on the deed or the property record on the property has to agree to the grant. We can't have one person say yes, I want the repair, and the other person say no. In a case
Mm-hmm.
like that, we would not be able to help you if there's a disagreement between owners. So anybody that's on the property record that we verify through the city's system, the county system actually, everybody has to be in agreement, and we have agreements that you have to sign and say yes, we are all in agreement. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as far as income goes, we have an income chart in the application where you are a single person household and it goes up to 8 persons in the household. And the deal is that every person who is a worker over 16 years of age is counted as
Mm-hmm.
contributing income to the household.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, 16 is the right to work age in North Carolina. So, if you have a brother, sister, cousin, whomever that's living with you, and they are generating income in your household, you do have to declare them and count them in the
Mm-hmm.
income total. But I will say the flip side and the other kind of good thing, Durham and Chapel Hill are lumped together in the metropolitan statistic area
That
for.
might help. Mm.
And that means that the income limits skew a little bit higher for
Yeah. Yeah.
than if it was Durham by itself. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we try to find the good with the bad. And even
Yeah.
the county's limits are even higher because of
Mm-hmm.
demographics and the profile, in
Mm-hmm.
that particular county. So,
Mm-hmm.
we encourage anybody who's interested to call our number, come in, get an application, and we have a guide to go with it that explains the program. And now we have some people, I'm going to just tell you something kind of funny. We have some people, so we say, well, you can get up to 15,000 in repairs. So somebody will say, well, if I only need 5,000, I get the other 10 in cash. Like, no,
No, that's not how this works.
that's not how it works. The repairs all have to go to the structure. So,
Right. So I'm going to say the number again because I put it in the chat, but it's 919-237-1884 to
correct.
for any of the information to get information about any of the programs that have been discussed today.
Right.
Then how does it work with the contractors? Do you all have contractors that you'll send out or does the
Well, we
the
are
owner
essentially
pick?
we are essentially the contractor
Okay.
under our agreement with the city. And
Hmm.
therefore, the contractors we hire are actually subs because
Okay.
we ultimately are responsible. The contractors have to be licensed, insured. They have a application and a vetting process that they have to go through. The other thing is we try to get 3 responsive bids for
Hmm.
any repairs. And
Hmm.
at any given time, depending on what repairs are needed, you may have one or more contractors working on the same structure because most
Hmm.
of the time,
Hmm.
um, let's say your carpentry contractors are not going to be doing HVAC or electrical work. So at
Right.
any given time, and then what we have to do is figure out a schedule for the work so that we don't get into trouble with contractors saying, well, this guy held me up and I couldn't finish and I was
Hmm.
delayed. So we have some logistics work to do
Hmm.
depending on what's required. And sometimes that will influence whether we undertake a particular repair or not. If it looks
Hmm.
like it's going to cause too much of a burden or too much of a delay in completing a project, we probably would not do everything that we
Hmm.
could do, but we're going to do the things that's most expeditious to get that house stabilized as quickly as possible. In other words, let's say a contractor is kind of busy and he can't get to us until 2 months from now. No, no, we want someone that can,
Hmm.
get to work fairly quickly. So
Hmm.
those kinds of the capacity. And the other thing, and I'll just say this about our small contractors, is the capacity issue. Do they have enough workers to? That's
Hmm.
part of our vetting process. Do you have enough workers to complete the project in a reasonable time frame? Because if you
Hmm.
don't, then that adds unnecessary delay to what would have been a fairly short duration project. But because the contractor didn't have enough manpower, is stretching it out. So we
Hmm.
evaluate all those things about the contractors as well.
Okay. And so we should say that if they're interested, if they're a contractor, if they're a trade, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, they can also call that same
They
number so
sure
that they can
can,
get on the list, which again, 919-237-1884, if you
right?
want to participate in any way in these programs.
The other thing is we will be hosting a meeting once we are ready to roll it out to the public. We still have a few um, areas that we need to clarify internally. Um, well, I'll say this: we're also looking for a rehab manager. That's very important. We have a full time position for a rehab manager to manage this portion of the program. So, if you're a contractor, architect, home inspector, appraiser, um, insurance adjuster, anyone with construction experience who is looking to help folk stay in their homes with a full time job, call that number and please apply. We're
All
taking
right.
applications for that as well.
Okay. All right. So we got jobs. And so let's go back to the people when we talked about the financial literacy program that's going to be going on that's every month. What benefit can they get in addition to the information? Are you sharing?
Well, I failed to mention that those literacy sessions happen on 3 consecutive Tuesdays every month.
Mhm.
If the attendees complete all 3 sessions, and there's no testing, there's no qualifying, anything like that. But if you complete all 3 sessions, you get a $200 gift from our organization at the end of the third session and a certificate of completion.
Right, absolutely. And so they can attend more than one session, but
Yeah.
they can only, and it's only one per household, right?
But yes, as many people in your household can attend, but only
Okay.
one person is eligible for the $200 gift.
Okay.
Yep.
So y'all can come get educated for free and we'll get paid to get educated. Where they do that at?
Yeah.
As my husband would
Get some,
say.
get some
Where they do
food for
that
get some food for Thanksgiving, and maybe get your house repaired.
Yeah. So the number again, 919-237-1884 if you're interested in any of those sessions and go get the education, go to multiple sessions. Where can they find out? Is there a Facebook page, website, excuse me, that they can go and see like what topics are going to be, or they just kind of have to sign up and come?
The name of our Facebook page is
Excuse me.
Historic Fayetteville Street Corridor Planning Group. That's a long
Mhm.
one, but historic. If you go to Facebook and you start in the search window and you say
Mhm.
Historic Fayetteville Street Corridor, it will pull up our Facebook page, and we generally will post the information about the next seminar maybe a month out before the next session, so you can find out when it's going to happen. In let me see, October. I think we start October. Let me see. Uh, Let's see. Where is
And
it?
it's on a Tuesday. It's three consecutive Tuesdays
It
from
starts
6 to
October.
7:30.
Ooh, let me not tell a tale because I need to be looking at it. But anyway, it's 3 consecutive Tuesdays in October, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts on the 7th, but 7, 14, and 21 of October. But I double check that. I don't want to tell a tale.
Okay. Well, just go to that page,
Hmm.
and you'll be able to see. Um, what's going on for that. So
That's right.
that's a lot of good stuff, y'all. Durham City residents have a lot of good opportunities and things that they can come and get educated, get food, get your house repaired, all of that. So um, that's one part. So can we talk just a little bit about the Durham Business and Professional Chain Grant and the pre-apprentice program and what that has to offer and how people can take advantage of that as well?
Okay, along a similar line to Fayetteville Street, the chain was trying to shore up the economic position of, and I'll just say this, African American people who were harmed. That is our focus, is in the grant. It's open to any city of Durham resident, these programs, but our focus is on African American people because we're at the bottom economically. That's a fact. So, for those who want to be politically correct and all that, we're not going there. But we're not going there, but it is our focus on this
Mhm,
particular community because it is in the Fayetteville Street corridor.
mhm, mhm,
The chain has the same boundaries that we have, and I did not mention. I'll mention what they are. Of course, along the spine of Fayetteville Street, but we have 5 census tracts in both programs that are our focus areas. They're not exclusive; they don't exclude anybody, but that's where our focus is because that's where we see the greatest need.
mhm,
So if you're into census tracts, 1301, 1303, 1304, 14, and 23. Now,
mhm,
geographically, that is what we would consider our historic African American community. If you look at the expressway, 147 or the railroad track as the northern boundary. Then you come down the American Tobacco Trail, which used to be the old railroad corridor. You come down
mhm,
to Cornwallis Road, right there where Beechwood Cemetery is, and you
mhm,
follow the census tract boundary over to Austin Avenue or Highway 55, and then you come back up to the expressway. So it's like a big rectangle. So
mhm,
that's the
mhm,
focus area. Now, the Chains program um, has 3 components. The pre-apprenticeship vocational program has been, we've had overwhelming response to that. And what
mhm,
that is, it's not a formal apprenticeship program. I want to get that straight. It is not. It's a pre-program which provides an entryway into the construction trades.
mhm,
Offer introductory courses in carpentry, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing.
mhm,
And the classes meet for 16 weeks. There is testing. I'm not an expert on those programs, but I know there is testing involved in these because you have to have some competency
mhm,
or aptitude
mhm,
when you complete. The classes meet Monday, like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, depending on
mhm,
which trades you select. And they
mhm,
meet 6 o'clock to 7:30
mhm,
on those days. Um, there are also some other features of that program. There are networking sessions with industry professionals so that students can talk with people about perhaps going on to um, formal apprenticeship programs such as Durham Tech, Wake Tech, and so forth. Or if they're interested in going and getting employment directly when they get out of the pre apprenticeship program, we have employers who come, tradespeople who are looking for to hire people. So
mhm,
the other benefit of the pre-apprenticeship program is when you complete, you graduate, you get an OSHA 10 safety certificate, which is typically the entryway, the baseline entryway into any construction job is that safety certification. You get that. All of this is free. All of this is free. And at the end of the program, the graduates receive $1,000 stipend or gift with no strings attached. And
mhm,
the reason there's no strings is we're trying to address all the needs that people may have, which may not strictly be academic. If you need a car, a down payment on a car, you need to get an apartment, you need a way to get to work, you need to pay some bills. However, or you may want to go on to Durham Tech or Wake Tech, pay your tuition for a formal apprenticeship program. That money is there to help you take the next step to wherever it is you'd like to go in your career.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just have to say that my daughter, my oldest daughter, participated in the first session in the carpentry class, and she absolutely loved it and would highly recommend the opportunity to do it. And so you mentioned the four trades, and you can only do one trade per session, but you can
Correct.
come back for the
Right.
other trades in different sessions. And can you get the stipend for each one,
Now
or
that
how
I'm
does that
not
work?
sure of. I'm going to give a telephone number for the chain.
Okay.
I'm like I say, I don't work with that program
Yeah.
in detail, so I'm not going to make a statement about it.
Hmm.
But the number for the Durham Business and Professional chain is 919
Hmm.
683 1047. 919-683-1047. The other
Okay.
thing I wanted to mention, um, just remembering, we have very talented instructors. These are paid positions for the instructors. And if any instructors out there, or any tradespeople, contractors, architects, uh, industry people are interested in teaching, because this program will have two more sessions in 2026. Call that number and get the method by which you would submit your resume to the Durham Business and Professional Chain for consideration as an instructor. So that's another opportunity for employment, and it also keeps our dollars circulating in our
Mhm.
local economy. Really local. We are hyper local. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I will mention that the first session, I believe we graduated 43 people,
Mhm.
and this session has. It started out with 73 students. Some will may drop away, but each
Mhm.
class is like almost full before we start. And now we're registering people for session number 3, which I think will start in December.
And so, what's the age range? And then, just to be clear, they have to be a city of Durham
Employee.
resident
I'm
and
not employee,
yeah,
resident. And we
resident.
do check. Some people may or may not be aware whether they're in the city or the county. We do check that. Um, you have to at least be 16, which is the right to work age in North Carolina, 16 plus,
Okay.
any age.
No
And
cap.
male,
It,
female. And we
mhm.
have had classes with mother's daughters, mother's sons,
Mhm.
brothers, just people who are interested in improving their economic condition.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you want to just touch on the other two components? You have a just quick minute to touch on the other two components of the.
The other two components, the first is business coaching, and this is for business people who want to either start a business if they don't have one, or enhance the capabilities of an existing business. So the business coach will be able to basically connect people with resources such as business planning, budgeting, financing. Um, the business coach will is kind of like a match. They will create a profile for a various business if you come in, and then depending on your needs, somebody may say, "Well, I need help with marketing, or I need help with my accounting system, or I need
Mhm.
help finding employees," or they may just come with a concept and not know how to go about getting started. So a lot of it will be startup information, like what type of business uh, formation should I have? Should I be a sole proprietor, LLC, a C corp, or a S corp?
Mhm.
What's the best type of business for me? And of course,
Mhm.
that depends on your personal financial
Mhm.
profile. And then
Mhm.
where can I go to get resources to get started? And if you're an existing business, and let's say you want to grow, expand, what are the issues involved that I should be concerned with if I want
Mhm.
to expand my business? The
Mhm.
third piece, which we're excited about, we have part of the grant, we created a resource center. And the resource center is where the pre apprenticeship program is held, is where the business coach is, but it's also where the third leg is, which is our co working space. The co working space is a free space. If you need a place to work with your laptop, and if you let's say you have a home-based business and you're tired of working at home by yourself and you need a break to get out, you can come to the resource center. We have tables, chairs, comfortable chairs, tables where you can just come and set up your laptop and work. um, it's open, like I say, to the public, and it's free. All of these programs are free.
Amazing, amazing. So, so much, so many resources that you shared. So, there's no reason for people not to take advantage. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to be a resident of Durham, the city of Durham. And not only does it cost you anything, most of them you get paid to do it. So, come check it out. Call one of the numbers for the.
I can hear you, but I can't see you. Okay. Hmm. Nope, just here. No. Yeah. You're welcome. And thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. All righty. Bye bye.